Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SC22 third annual HPC in the city Dallas GitHub and Discord overview. Now, today is actually the day we're going to start our hackathon, but that's not until later today. But during this session, we're actually going to do a little bit of an overview for the communication systems that we're going to use during the hackathon, as well as we're going to go over the hackathon just a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do here, I am going to take a moment to go ahead and select my presentation here. There we go. We'll open that up. I'll make sure that my chat box is reopened. There we go. Yes, we have a gray screen in the middle, so let me move that over. And let me go ahead and make sure I can see my participants as well. So here are the rules. Occasionally, you're going to see me do this. When I do this, I am looking at you, so I can see Doc's bright, shining face. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
Morning.
Good. And go ahead and open this up to full screen. There we go. And we'll go ahead and get started today. So on the agenda today, we're going to go over some of the hackathon objectives and overview, just to give you a little bit of an idea about what's going to happen during the event, including a timeline, the deliverables and resources that are going to be expected of the different teams. And then, of course, we're going to go into both GitHub and Discord, and I'll tell you about those a little bit later. If you have not yet joined our Discord server, the QR code is on the screen. The link is on the screen. Do it now. And the reason you should do it now is because that's going to become really important tonight as we are getting started in our teams. And let me see if someone has said hello. Has someone said hello? Oh, nope, I haven't seen anybody join during this session yet, but that's okay. We're happy to have you here. Now, the overall objective of HPC in the City Hackathon is to bring together the resources, talents, and skills that are found inside of the high performance computing community, the HPC community, and then as well as others, and direct them towards issues that directly affect the participants or people living or community members within Dallas or the greater state of Texas area. Now, we do that through data analysis and presentations and creation of programs and applications, which I can't wait to see in a couple of days. Now, some of the student outcomes include increased familiarity with data science in the cloud, experience with collaborative software engineering. Now, if you have never done that before, it is a thing. It is a thing. And of course, we'll give you some tools to go along with that. And you'll also be able to develop some of those professional communication skills that go along with that, all while you're working with these HPC professionals in the field. Now, just to kind of give you a little bit of a timeline about what this will be or how this event will take place, the teams will actually identify some major milestones. Of course, they'll pick a topic. Now, tonight during team formation, the way that's going to work is we're going to have our mentors come together. They're going to present some project ideas. And when I say present, they get one slide and they get 2 minutes, and I get to cut people off. It is the greatest thing ever. But one slide in 2 minutes. And after you see all the presentations, we set up breakout rooms with those different mentors, and then the you as students and participants get to vote with your feet as far as which project in which you'd like to work. We have check-ins that occur every or 2 check-ins a day that occur during the event. So 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, Sunday. We have 1 on Monday, and then we have our final presentations, including the deliverables that occur on Monday night. Now, we do have a couple competitions that go along with it, including we have a judge's presentation or a judge's choice where we look at things like the project impact and viability and usefulness, the creativity of the project, the UI, so the way it looks and the polish, the technical complexity, collaboration between the team, the presentation itself, and of course, completeness. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that the most complex team or complex presentation will win, or a team will win, nor that or it doesn't mean that those that are new to the field and just learning, which we've had in some of the cases, some of our teams, that they will win. But we do, because our judges are aware of the challenges that go along with it. We do have judges training to assist them with that. But additionally, we have 2 other prizes, including Viewer's Choice, where you can actually send out links to your friends and family and coworkers and let them know, hey, come check out my team and vote for us if you think we're the best, as well as an Impact Award. And all these things we'll talk more about during the kickoff tonight. But what is expected of the teams? We expect a couple deliverables that are due prior to your presentation on Monday night. And that includes a GitHub repository, which we're going to talk about today. And on that repository, you're going to have a readme.md file that you'll customize. I'll show you a little bit about that today as well. You're going to upload your code. Again, something we're going to take a look at today, and make sure it has comments, and a PDF of your presentation that includes all of your team members, including your team mentor, use of the HPC technology in the project impact on the community, and of course, if you have a demo, you can of course include that. Some of the resources that you will have available to you: Google Cloud. So the Google Cloud platform, Google has graciously given us a set of credits that we're going to be able to give to each of the teams so that you all can use their platform. And there was training on that yesterday, as well as Cloudy Cluster, which is provided by one of our supporters, Omnibon. And training on that was also hosted yesterday, and that video can be found on our main event site on the schedule. Some of the most commonly used programming languages and tools include Python, Jupyter Notebooks, Node.js, Replit, which is an amazing collaborative programming environment. If you are a CS major and your teacher has said you're going to have group work and you all need to work on this project, you may want to take a look at Replit, REPL.IT, because there may be some tools in there that help you out, as well as HTML and a breadth of other software packages as well. Again, just a reminder about Discord, be our primary channel for communication during the hackathon event. If you're not there, where are you? Get there. There's the link and the QR code. And of course, we'll be talking about that today as well. Now, let me slow down a bit, because now we're going to go into our communication platforms. Now, some of you all have a bit more experience in some of these things. My job during this training event is just to give you a brief overview so that you have an idea of what it's like to use these packages. Just a brief experience. Of course, the more you use it, the more it will make sense. So, again, we have our links here. The primary uses of Discord for us is as a chat bot, so that we can send messages and files and things between each other. So you can directly communicate with your teams in a group area, as opposed to sharing cell phone numbers and things like that. Of course you can, but we wanted to make sure there was a different way that you can do that as well. You can video conference, do screen share, and of course file exchange. These are all things that are essential to a functioning team. Now, some quick tips, and then I'll actually show it to you live. Some of the more important channels are, of course, the general channel. For those of you that are part of it, you've seen me do some @here's to announce to everyone when different things are occurring. We have an assistance channel that's monitored, as well as our hackathon general voice channel. Now, there's a difference between a voice channel and a text channel, which I'll say it right now. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I'm still going to say it. The text channels are for text. You can type out text messages, share files, all that good stuff. The voice channels, however, you can actually join those channels and basically talk as a group, large group chat, as if you were all in the same room. So those channels are very, very helpful when working on a group, especially working virtually. Other tips. You may have to browse for your channel. Your mentors are actually going to create channels for your groups. And so you may have to browse for it. And I actually have the images there to kind of take you through it, where you actually search for your channel. There are a few channels there from prior groups, but again, we wanted to make sure that you had this available to you. All right. Now, before we go into GitHub, let me back up. I'm going to escape out of my presentation here. I'm going to stop my share. And I'm going to bring my Discord window over. Now, I would suggest that you take the moment to actually use the desktop client version of Discord. And the reason I say that is because you're going to be sharing files and things. It is wonderful to have on your phone because of course you can use it anywhere that you are, but having it available on your desktop really aids in the process of sharing files and things like that. So here is our HackHPC Discord server. Now, I am being very brave, because I am showing a live Discord server here. Now, Sasmita has actually joined our channel here recently. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to click on her and let's see if we can send her a wave. So, howdy, because I'm in Texas. So that actually took me to a personal chat with Sasmita, and I actually messaged her directly. So would you mind sending something back? Are you there? This might be a thing. I think I threw her off guard.
Hello. Good morning. I'm there, but I'm trying to still figure out.
Not a problem. It's not a problem at all. There we go. Thank you, Maria. So Maria actually chatted, and you see it did speak to everyone there. Now, Sasmita, what you can, as you saw, I clicked on her @channel. I talked to her directly. You can search for people up top. Clyde is, of course, saying hi. Now, I have to say something about Clyde. Yeah, I'm going to call you out, Clyde. Sorry. Clyde.
That's fine.
Clyde is one of the people I kind of look to as far as then being an amazing Discord server moderator. He does an amazing job of our inclusivity committee back at SC21. And as Maria said, Clyde, he is the Discord genius. We really appreciate having him here. Just to show you again up top, to add a new channel over on the left under text channel, you can click plus. To add that in under voice channels, you can of course click plus. One of the things that you're definitely going to want to do for your team once you start out tonight is to create a team Discord channel. Now, I have a lot of channels here from different events I've participated in, but of course, then you can search for your team itself. It's pretty straightforward. If you have issues, though, we are here to assist you. Now, also inside of the voice channel, one thing I do want you to be aware of is when you leave the voice channel, you do have to hang up. Now, I'm not going to do it live here because it's going to throw things off as far as in sounds and things like that. But that is one thing you do want to, about which you do want to be aware. Again, you can share pictures, you can share videos and things like that. In the general channel, of course, you want to be a bit more careful because everyone sees them. And thank you again to everyone for saying hello. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop that share. That's Discord. We're not going to make it more complicated than it needs to be, but at the same time, if you have questions, if you have concerns, please feel free to ask. We are here to help you. All right, moving on. Let us jump back into our primary screen here, just right here. And if you all can please keep an eye on chat, because as I switch back and forth between windows, I lose my chat window. So if you need to ask a question, please feel free to unmute and ask your question. Now, moving on, GitHub. Now, In the software development world, GitHub is a mainstay for creating portfolios and for software development. The way GitHub works is it can allow you to work on projects collaboratively by using what are called revisions. So as a document is added or changed by someone else, the different revisions move along. Now, to put those documents together, it uses something called a merge. And merges can become painful. I'm just going to be honest with you. There are also several ways to use GitHub. Many people use it through the command line, the terminal, using a program called Git. Some use the GitHub desktop. Others use VS Code, the connection to revisioning inside a VS Code, as well as many other software packages like Atom and things like that. Today, I'm going to show you the easy way. I'm going to show you the way to do this that is very straightforward and very drag and drop. That makes sense? All right. And so there's one other thing I'm going to hint at. There is a feature called GitHub Pages, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as we go. The reason this is important for you is because this is one of your deliverables. This GitHub link is something you're going to give to us on the organizing committee with your presentation, and then you're going to have this custom readme.md file to tell us a little bit about your project, as well as upload your code, of course. These can be as complex or as simple as you like. I've included this link here for HackHPC.org/past hacks to kind of get some examples of how simple or as complex as you would like your GitHub to be. Now, having said that, I am going to be brave. I am going to do a demo. Now, I want you to be aware, live demos are just that, live. They can go very well. They can go very wrong, but we're gonna work through it together, okay? One question I am asked very consistently during the hackathon, though, that I want to address right now is, do you all need to make a team GitHub repository, or could it be an individual's GitHub repository that everyone connects to? And for me, either is fine. What I would suggest is someone makes it a part, someone on the team makes it a part of their portfolio, and then you turn that into what's called an organization. In other words, you add other members to it so that that can be something you can reference in the future, long past when this hackathon has ended. All right. So let's do this, shall we? Oh, actually, I needed that. Let me go back and share that screen one more time. And of course, at any time, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Now I'm gonna pin my video here so that, there we go, so that the recording does what it's supposed to do. And I'm gonna go back to share and make sure I pick the right screen. Let's go to share. Now you're gonna get to see two parts of this while I'm working with you. You're gonna see me do a cleanup. So you're gonna see me do a little bit of file management. And then you're going to see me add files back as well. And all of the links that I'm showing you, I'm actually going to pull this screen over. There we go, this tab. Good morning. All of the links that I'm about to show you are actually available on the main site, so you can play the at-home game with me. If you go to schedule.
All right, that's
and under our training, our GitHub and Discord overview. Oh, I think we have someone. There we go. Clyde, I'm going to mute you, but you can, of course, oh, you got it. There you go. Good. So under training in GitHub, all of these links are available here. Now, the one I'm going to go to first is this example GitHub repo demo. So I'm going to open that up in a new tab. And this is a little bit of a project that's here. So this is github.com/umehp and my Git intro. I have a few things here, including our readme.md file, and I have some examples of a team project that is here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you about this readme.md file. Remember, this is one of your deliverables that you should have a custom readme.md file. This readme.md file, MD stands for Markdown. Markdown. And Markdown is actually a language that allows you to render out, make a picture of text. And you can do all kinds of things in here. You can do HTML within it, as well as you can use specific GitHub, specific Markdown tags. Again, those links are on the schedule. But if you take a look here, so I clicked the little edit button. Let me go back there because I did that kind of fast. And let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. There we go. So I'm in the readme.md file, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little edit button. This is assuming you have permissions to this repository. And when you click the edit button, the little pencil, it shows you the code behind this page. So taking a look at this versus what we had before, the hash mark, so hash and a space gives you a header. So in HTML terms, this is a H1 header. That we have regular text here. 2 hashes and a space is a H2 header. The little 3 dashes here is a headline. And then the start asterisk here, asterisk space, and then whatever, actually make bullet points for you. So if I go back, or if I actually click on preview, this is that very same code rendered out. There's our H1 header. There's our headline, or our line right there, the 3 dashes, our bullet points, our H2 header, all of that is listed there. Now, let me go back to edit file. Like I said before, GitHub was designed to keep track of revisions, changes to the document. Well, when you have a lot of revisions to a file, you kind of need to know what's going on with it. And so the way GitHub handles that is we have these boxes that whenever you add to it, you need to put a note to say why you added it. So to commit the changes, we could type something like, for instance, let's say I wanted to add a link here. So I know that the way that I do a link in Markdown is I do this, and I can say Markdown reference. So that's going to be my text, reference. And I'll put a parenthesis. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go back to my schedule, and I know that here in my schedule, I have this GitHub link. Oh no, I must have it under resources. Oh, it's like there's a resources page with things for people to help people. They're the ones from the samples. And I know that I have a reference link right here for GitHub Markdown reference. I'm going to right click that and copy the link. I'm going to go back to my editing. I'm just going to paste that in. There we go. Now I do know I need this on the same line, so let's go ahead and take care of that. There we go. So we have our parentheses, the web address in parentheses. I'm going to put a space here because, so that it looks pretty. And down here in the comment, I'm going to added GitHub reference link and commit changes. And now, there it is. Markdown reference. When I highlight it, you can see down the bottom, it actually has a little link, but when I click on it, now it takes me to a Markdown reference. Now, for those of you that are wondering, Jamie, you just gave us a very good reference. I sure would like to have that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that where? In Discord. So GitHub Markdown reference. There you go. Drop that in the Discord server for you. So again, you can play the at-home game and I'll go back. So that kind of shows you the Markdown is very, it tends to be understandable, but we do have references and we do have aids to assist you. There are ways to add pictures. So the same way you would do it inside of HTML, you can actually do it inside of Markdown. So let me do that just for me. Now I'm getting brave. Now, Pat, you're a coder, somewhat. You're like me. We both have some coding experience. I'm going to try to do this live because I'm brave. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to save this image. I'm going to save it to my desktop. There we go. And save. All right, I'm going to go back to my GitHub intro. And let's see if we can add this picture. All right, Pat. If Charlie was here, Charlie would smile at me. Sasmita, you think I can do this?
Of course.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, you don't know me. We're gonna
Yes. Yes, of course.
We're gonna give this a shot. So the first thing I'm gonna do, so let me leave this because I didn't mean to go in there just yet. So first thing we need to do is, I don't know, add the file to GitHub. And the way we do that, so I'm back on our main repo. I'm going to go to add file. And I'm going to upload file. And we can just drag and drop it in there now. Clyde, are you there? I have a question for you, sir. Clyde, what, sir, is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? What's the answer?
42.
That is exactly correct. And we know that our good friend, the computer Deep Thought, added Deep Thought, gave us that answer, right? All right, for those of you that are like, what in the world are they talking about? That's actually a good old Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. But if I go to Deep Thought, we of course have that listed there. That's the answer, I promise. So we back up. All I did was drag. So I went to add file, upload file. I dragged my file. I added that reason, remember, for revisioning history. And there it is, the Deep Thought picture. Now I want to add it here because I'm brave to my README file. So again, I'm going to go to that edit button on my readme.md. And right here, I'm going to add that picture. Now, how am I going to do that? Believe it or not, I'm going to use HTML. I'm going to go bracket, image space, source equals, and what's the name of the file? Deep thought.jpg. Close it, and of course, close our image. All right. Let's see if Jamie still knows his HTML. So down in commit changes, my note is added image tag for Deep Thought. Scroll down, commit. And yes, I can still code. I was able to add that image to my Markdown file. So you can see how I can do a mixed media almost of adding them. Now, there is one other trick here that I'm going to show you. So again, you can add folders, you can drag and drop folders, you can add your presentation. You now know how to do the custom README file. But Jamie, your repository was already set up. How can I make my own? That's a good question. The way you do that, well, let me back up 1 second before I do that. there's one other thing that I added to this. I actually, if you look over here to the right, you see that there's this thing called GitHub Pages, and it says it's active. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to click on View Deployment, View Deployment. So if I go to View Deployment, you notice here, the address changed. It now says umihp.github.io/getintro. There's my picture with my dangling image close tag, as well as everything else rendered out to a website. How did I do that? Well, it's actually because of a setting for pages that is turned on. So now that I've kind of shown you how you can add files, what it can do, I'm going to show you how to set it up. But before I do, I want to take a moment because I know I tend to just charge forward. And I want to ask, are there any questions? I'm about to show you how I set it up, but are there any questions up to this point about Markdown, about being able to add files? We're okay?
I think maybe placement of, you want us to create the page for ourselves, or is there going to be
General.
yeah, I
general
was going to say something for each of the teams that have signed up already.
So that is an excellent question. And the answer to that is we are not making a GitHub page for you. We are not, you don't have to add to our GitHub page. Your teams will create the GitHub page. So so we have both students and mentors here. So for the mentors, your teams will create them. For the students, one of you on your team will create this GitHub page. And in fact, you'll hear me on Saturday start saying things like, with your teams, you may want to pick someone that's in charge of the GitHub repository so they can go ahead and make it. You hear me, you'll hear me say things like that. And then you'll think back to this and go, he said he was going to say that. But your teams create the pages. The links to the repositories are sent to me, and then I add it to the main site so that everyone's there. And you'll get a better idea of that tonight. And thanks for the question, Pat. Are there any other questions? Okay.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, James. So about yesterday, that we had the training for the Cloudy cluster, but I was not sure if we're supposed to create our own personal accounts. It's kind of like just this other question. Like, I was like, okay, but I don't have Google Cloud. What happens next?
That's an awesome question. So yes, you create your own GitHub repository. Now, GitHub was actually established back in the early 2000s as its own project, and Microsoft bought them in 2017, I think it was, 2017, 2018-ish. And so it is open to everyone. And just to show it to you, because that's actually the next step in my process here. Anyway, when I go to github.com, you can go up top. So yours is going to look different because I'm logged in right now, but you can actually sign up for your own personal account. Now, what do you mind if I ask what your major is in school?
Yes, computer science. I was actually asking about the Cloudy cluster.
Oh, okay. For
Yes.
Cloudy cluster.
Do we have to make
So
our own accounts with that? Or
not a problem. That one's easy too. So for the Google credits, that's what allows you to get the Cloudy cluster. All you have to do is send your email address. Now, it needs to be a Google Suites connected account, be it either your school account or personal account, to Cole McKnight. So if you look back on the back here on the our main event page and go to the schedule, under the schedule, you have Cole McKnight's email address right there. So just click on it and it'll pop open your
that's
email.
what we're supposed to do.
Yes. And don't worry, we're going to say that again tonight during the kickoff, and likely we'll say it again on Friday. Okay. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right. So now let's break some stuff. What do y'all say? So Dr. Hayden, those of you all that don't know, I've known Dr. Hayden since I was a young pup in high school.
Yep.
And when I say let's break some stuff,
Break it.
it's a bit more, it has a story behind it with Doc.
Stories.
Since, yeah, she's not kidding. So here's what happened. I'm going to, don't worry, I'm going to do the GitHub repository thing here, but now I have gotten into the story, so I've got to tell you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to look into the camera and I'm going to tell you what happened here.
Oh, boy.
This one's for free. This one's for free. Now, whenever I tell the story, I do this thing called, I say, see what had happened was. So see what had happened was when I initially came to Dr. Hayden's program at Elizabeth City State University, she had a lab that changed my life. I was always into computers. My first computer was a Commodore 64. It's actually in my bedroom back behind me. And I just loved computers. I worked on Macs and things at school. I met her son, and he told me about her program, came down, and I walked into her lab and was filled with Silicon graphics machines, Sun Spark machines. So those are Unix machines. The biggest, beefiest Macs I'd ever seen in my life. There was a Next Gen down the hall, which was the only place I ever saw one of those in the wild. Next Gen is the company that Steve Jobs started after he left Apple, before he came back and did the iMac and iPod and all those things. So to say the least, I fell in love. Absolutely fell in love with everything they had. But the other thing they had, which was my first time ever interacting on, was high-speed internet. It was actually ATM internet. And I was connected through BNC cable. So think the same cable you use for your TV, but it has a different hook on it. And the computer that I was working on at the time, so the other thing that I saw for the first time ever was I had used internet at home, as far as in these things we had called bulletin board services that we connected through our modems on.
Yeah.
But she had internet with the Netscape and Mosaic web browsers. Now, Maria, I'm going to call you out on this. And Maria and Pat, y'all are probably shaking your heads, right?
Yeah.
First time you ever saw Mosaic and Netscape, this thing called the internet made sense. Now, today, we have Chrome and Firefox and Edge and all these other web browsers. But at the time, it was the first time I'd ever seen it. Well, the computer that I was working on, it was in a room adjacent to the main lab. And I had this big heaping honking, it was called an Onyx SGI machine. And it was as big as a small refrigerator, but it wasn't connected to the internet. It wasn't connected to the network. Well, I understood how the connections worked. So I just reached behind another computer, unplugged it and plugged it into mine, and mine had internet. The problem with that was the internet back then, there were ways to do things that I didn't do that took down the entire lab a couple times. There were meetings about me. And so when I say the phrase, let's break some stuff.
Yeah.
I break stuff. All right. So that's story time. All right. You get that one for free. You get that one free. But I will say, Doc, to this day, Doc, of course, they after several meetings let me know don't touch stuff and get my hands slapped.
No. I said go for it.
Love it. Oh yeah.
That's what the lab
say
was
that
all
now.
about.
You didn't say that. You didn't say that back then.
Well.
She knows I can fix it now. But back then. But anyway, okay, all right, moving on. All right. So let's back up a step. And thank you, Dr. Hayden. Thank you for all the opportunities you've given me. I truly appreciate it. She's like mama number 2. Okay, so let's create a repository. The way you do it, first, you of course create a GitHub account if you don't already have one. And you'll come to something like this. Now, I always like to fill out information. Computer scientists, fill out your profiles. It's worth it. Then you go to repositories, or up in the top right-hand corner, you can click the plus button and you just click new. we're in the setup process. You give your repository a name, you give it a description. Now the catch with the name is whatever the name is that the link to your repository is going to be github.com/that name. You can go ahead and add a README file to it from beginning, which I highly suggest. And then you click create repository. That's it. That's it. That creates the repository. Well, what about the second thing? I talked about this Git pages thing. So I'm gonna go back to the Git intro repository. And this time I'm gonna go to settings. I'm gonna go to settings. So that Git pages, and when I say Git pages, that means that website that's created from your Markdown or HTML or whatever you put in there. You click on pages over on the left under settings, and then you can enable it. That's it. It will then, as you add things to it, it may take up to a minute for it to process it, assuming your code is okay, because every once in a while it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, for me anyway. But assuming you get a check mark saying it's okay, and it'll post it to that domain. So what does that tell you? That means that you can actually make a public portfolio for yourself if you wish to. One more thing. One more thing. Collaborators. So you're going to have teammates that are going to want to connect to this page, and one may be working on a presentation, one may be working on the code. Another one may be working on a README branch or adding pictures or whatever data sets you may want to add. To do that, you go to collaborators. Oh, of course I have to add authentication code. So let me go into my phone here, because even though we're doing a live demo, we need to do this. There we go. And you can add, you haven't invited any collaborators yet, you can add people to it. Now, of course, when you're adding people to it, it is based on them having a GitHub account as well. And that's it. It keeps it very easy, very straightforward. Now, if you're doing, now I'm gonna stop my share. Actually, I will go back to this and I'll go here. One last tip for you. If you're going to use the command line, if none of these words make sense to you, then you're probably not going to use it this way. If you decide to use the command line version of Git, things are a little bit different as far as in how you do merges and things now. They are very security conscious. And so you may need some assistance to set that up. If that happens, just ask one of us. We'll be glad to assist you with that. And as well as there are tons of information online as well. Now, having said that, I am going to do one more thing here. I'm going to take this off because that session is gone. I'm going to change this date to the 3rd because that is the day, because this is, you know what, Cole didn't present today, so I'm going to take him off too. Bye, Cole. This is the cool thing about doing things like this. And I'm going to hit my slideshow. And I'm going to say thank you for joining me. Tonight is the beginning of the hackathon, our 96-hour push. And with that, are there any questions? Well, I'm not hearing anything. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording, and then I'm going to open the floor again. So let me go ahead and stop that recording for us.